Hello, I am Trey Ratcliff. How are you doing? Welcome to Season 31, Episode 6 of Conversations with Craig Mod. Today we are on, where are we, Craig?
We're walking the Portuguese Camino.
We are. This is day 6?
This is day 5.
Day 5.
5, yes.
That's right.
Day 5.
And we're going about 100 kilometers altogether, probably a little more than that.
Yep.
And anyway, Craig is an awesome guy. You'll see. But to find out more, go to craigmod.com. Brilliant writer. Does all kinds of stuff. Lives in Japan. Super fluent in Japanese. Has the craziest, most interesting stories. Hope he writes a book someday. But he is doing these little 25-minute recordings of me and the other 8 ne'er-do-wells that Kevin Kelly has collected for this Camino excursion. And so he's just gonna ask me questions, or we'll have a discussion, and I thought you could be a fly on the wall and listen in. So, intro complete.
Yeah.
The stage is yours, Mr. Mod.
Great. Well, I'm going to do an audio sync clap to start things off. This is helpful for me for editing this later.
It's good for you too, Stu.
Hopefully that works. Yeah. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. You know, I feel like we're finally hitting our rhythm on this, and you know, my body is in tune with hiking 20 to 30 kilometers a day now, and my body craves it. It reminds me, I learned this in a yoga hiking meditation retreat in New Zealand, and this yoga teacher told me something that makes sense. I never thought about, but like, your body wants to work, so just let it.
Yeah. Well, and also, I mean, in contrast to the average day-to-day of the average first world citizen, you know, we're sitting down all the time, right? I mean, we spend, you know, most of the day sitting down. And so to do this, I mean, this is a lot more normal, I think, to walk 20K in a day. And in fact, in Japan, the roads, the old roads are set up with the intention that people will be doing 40K a day is the standard.
Right.
So we're not even close to what the Japanese were walking 200-300 years ago.
I think it's absolutely one of the best exercises, especially, well, for men like over 30, especially over 40.
Yeah.
Because it's not that difficult.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It can be meditative.
Yeah.
If you're walking with an interesting person, you can have a walk and talk, and you work out your mind, you work out your body, you work out your soul. It's just like a complete triple shot.
Yeah. Well, and it's pretty inclusive. As long as you're mildly able-bodied, you can kind of complete almost any walk, except for when they get into technical sort of rock climbing or rappelling or using ice picks and stuff like that. But for most, any walk, and I've been on walks, you know, up to Annapurna Base Camp and all over Japan with some pretty gnarly climbs and pretty steep ascents. And, you know, you'll see people in their 70s doing it, and you just go slowly. It's about pacing. That's the whole key. If you pace yourself, you'll make it.
By the way, you have the kindest, smoothest voice. It's like this lilting, sing-songy. It's great.
Well, you have a very lovely voice too.
Well, it's no Craig Mod.
I've been enjoying it every night at dinner. But yeah, so how has this walk been for you? How is it aligned with what you thought it would be and what it actually is?
I was a little nervous before I came because, you know, I had been to your blog and read about your walks through Japan and these sorts of things, and I knew there were lots of experienced hikers on here. I'm like, well, I do a little bit of hiking and I do a little working out, but I'm not like in any great hiking shape. So I spent a week in New Zealand with a really heavy bag doing like 10 to 30 kilometer hikes so I could be. And then I started because I don't really do that. Then during that warm-up week, I was like, I really like hiking. Yeah, I was by myself, so I was kind of listening to audiobooks or podcasts. I was like, this is quite great. This is quite nice. And so now that I'm here, because I was terrified I was going to be the weak link in the chain. Right. You know, and I didn't want to slow anyone down. But everyone is actually equally paced. That was of course, all these worries that you have. I'm not even really a worrier. Right. But they rarely come to pass, you know? And now that I'm here, I love it. Now I'm like addicted to it, and I am already thinking about coming to join you in Japan and doing the Komodo
Kumano Kodo.
Kimono Kodo.
Well, there's many walks, so that's one. There are many others that can be done as well. But yeah, Japan is on your to-do list.
That's right. And I think, so, we're here with Kevin Kelly, who invited all these nice people, and he's a hero of mine. I have many heroes. It's also nice to hang out with him. But besides being genius, he's also a genius at selecting really nice, positive energy kind of people. And it's great. You could just talk to any of these people forever. It's been really stimulating. I've learned a lot about them, and by learning a lot about them, I've learned about myself accidentally.
Yep.
And it's great.
I mean, I don't want to take credit, but I did select half these people too.
All right. I give you credit then.
This was a collaborative selection.
Well, you guys are great judges of character.
Well, I bring that up just because I'm also delighted, and I've said this with everyone that I've spoken with. I'm just delighted with the dynamics of the group. I think it's been, for me, that's been the biggest surprise, is just how equanimous a group of 10 can be traveling together, which is usually a recipe. If you don't have a tour that you're part of, or you're doing things by bus, and you have someone who's kind of like the tour Nazi that's always checking the schedule and yelling at everyone, like if you don't have that and it's kind of self-organized, 10 is like a really tricky number. But this has been, I would characterize as smooth.
Yeah, it's been really cruisy. That's my new word this year, cruisy.
This is a cruisy
really
walk.
Cruisy.
And so you were worried, I'm not fit enough for this, maybe I won't be able to keep up, but the reality on the ground, very different.
Yeah, it's very easy walk. Even the uphill portions. I think one thing I didn't expect, because in my warm-ups, which New Zealand is pretty up and down, so I did a few. You were showing me your Strava the other day, how a few of my walks were up 1,000 meters, 2,000 meters up and down, and it was exhausting. It was really difficult. But the thing I didn't expect here with the walk and talk is that you're so, in Camino, you're so intellectually stimulated and really interested that it distracts from the physicality of it, but even the physicality of it is not nearly as hard as I thought it would be.
Yeah. I mean, and there's this phrase, trail fit, that you can throw around, and like, you have your normal day-to-day body, which is like chair fit. Right. And then you do 3 or 4 days on the trail, and your legs, your muscles that haven't been activated for a long time get activated. They start to ache. And then like 4, 5, 6 days in, everything just kind of is cool with it. Like you reach a new stasis, and you can do the walks. You're eating enough food. You're getting enough calories. You're getting good sleep, and you just kind of lean into it. You lean into this new rhythm of life. And so I think this morning we were all saying how it just feels like we're ready to keep going.
That's right.
Like we've gotten over the difficult hump.
That's
even
right.
though it ends tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's like if we had another week, we could probably pull it off.
Right on. Yeah.
And how has the group experience been for you? Like walking or spending so much time with so many people?
It's fantastic for me because I have, voluntarily chosen to kind of isolate myself in New Zealand, in a small town with about 25,000 people, South Island, and I'm really an introvert. I think a lot of these people are introverts too, really.
Most of us are.
Yeah. And me being a creative or whatever, photographer kind of guy, I do like being around other creative people. I think it's something that I need, and I think it's something that we all need. And so it's nice to, and this is one reason I go to Burning Man every year, because you get to hang out with 60, 70,000 creative, nice people that are like full of love and openness and like a non-judgment zone.
Yeah.
And I think that even though, I think we share those sensibilities, we're non-judgmental, very accepting people and this sort of thing. Sometimes you go around a world where people are judgmental, and so you kind of keep your heckles up a little bit. Even though I'm an open-hearted, vulnerable kind of guy, you kind of keep your guard up a little bit.
Yep.
Better right now. It's okay, we're going audio now. So I think when you get into a nice group like this, you feel them out for a few hours, you're like, okay, I'm in a safe zone.
Yeah.
it's nice to be in a safe zone of these 9 other people, and it's good. It kind of reminds you, like, oh, I wish this was like life all the time.
Yeah. So, I mean, what's been the biggest stress for you, I guess, over the we've been together for 5.5 days now. So anything stood out, like in terms of prep or walking or days on, food or, finding alone space? You say you're an introvert. Has that been difficult to be around so many people for so many hours each day?
No, it hasn't been hard at all. I think, no matter what you do, you always want a few more hours in every day. And I probably haven't been getting enough sleep.
Yep.
That's okay, because I'm such a high energy guy that I could power through just by force of sheer will.
Yeah.
But one of my favorite days it was like a super hot day, and we got to the hotel. So we're at a different hotel every night, and I took a nice cool, not cold shower, but a cool shower. I was like, oh my God, let those cold molecules just go all over me. It was great. And I was like a new man, and then I was tired, and I just went, I like passed out on the bed like naked and took a nap. Which was a real shock to my roommate, Matt Mullenweg.
I was going to say, you're sharing your room with
Yeah, I'm like sharing my bedroom with a billionaire or something. But he's an awesome roommate. Like, he's the right kind. I'm sure he's like all of you guys. He's like positive, happy, quiet, good energy.
Well, he's got this holiness to him.
Doesn't he?
Yeah, there's a holy air to Mr. Mullenweg.
Right, he's like a man monk who's aged in his mid-30s, and a nice wisdom. And tonight we have different discussions every night at dinner, which I think is very erudite and interesting. Have a little focused discussion. And tonight is Matt's last night with us. We're talking about global government.
Yeah.
And I think the reason that we want Matt there is because we want him to run the global government.
He'd be a benevolent dictator, I think.
Wouldn't he? Yeah.
Playing Camino.
Camino. I don't think we've passed anybody the entire trip. We've only been passed, which is cool.
We are the passerbys. Yeah. Which is great. But in the end, like, it's about pacing. The kind of way to survive long, arduous physical activity is pacing. And so I screwed up in the beginning of this walk. I'm carrying way more weight than Ollie's carrying, and the first day the incline was greater than anything else by an order of magnitude on this entire walk. And we just ran up the mountain. Like, we passed everyone, and that definitely set a negative precedent for my tendons.
Right.
So a big part of this walk has been kind of overcoming this ITB pain.
Right.
That was set in motion on the first day.
Well, it's good to know that even an experienced hiker like you makes these kind of mistakes on occasion.
Yeah. We were just kind of in the excited, and I think we underestimated the total climb, and the degree of incline also has a big effect on obviously what's being activated. And it was super steep. It wasn't switchbacks. It was straight up. And you just remember, as we're passing everyone, we're passing people who are clearly retired, people who've clearly not hiked a lot in their life, who are physically quite bad shape.
Right.
Probably shouldn't be doing that walk.
Right.
And, you get to the other town, and then eventually everyone arrives, and you remember it's just all about pacing. And with the right pace, even if it takes an extra 2 or 3 hours, you can do a 1,400 meter climb. And almost 30K of distance.
Right.
It's not undoable.
And how does it compare so far to your Japanese walks? Is it like apples and oranges? Not even a valid question, or what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the landscape's completely different, and then also my Japanese walks are never with this many people.
Right.
It's because the infrastructure doesn't support it. So the biggest difference is just the general infrastructure all over Spain to support this walk, in terms of food, in terms of lodging. I mean, the fact that you can do this walk without having booked anything, and you can walk for a month and you can always find a place to stay and you can find things to eat, is pretty impressive. That would be really difficult to do for some of the trails in Japan.
Right.
And so that's been really, really nice. And there's a kind of improv jazz component to it. I think if we were walking alone, where you could just go, oh, this is like a nice town. It's not as far as I want to walk today, but yeah, why don't I stay here? Here's an inn for pilgrims, and you can just set your bag down and kind of spend the night there. So the fact that there are defined chunks of this walk, but you don't have to abide by them.
Right.
And so I think one of the negatives of the big group is that we are bound to the places we booked in advance, because 10 is too big a number to randomly
do it
select and
organically.
find. Yeah.
Right. I got you.
But what's the biggest group you've spent 6 days with before? Have you spent time with groups bigger than this for longer periods of time?
Yes, about 20 people.
Wow.
There's this, the TED Talks, all the TED stuff. There's this TED fellow
Yep.
named Jerry Orstrom.
Okay.
Going to be a good friend over the last 8-9 years. And he has the only private ranch in all of Yellowstone. And it's so remote, the only way to get there is you have to ride a horse for many, many hours to get out there. And so every year he invites about 18 people out to his ranch.
Okay.
And Jerry really doesn't do anything with his life.
Okay.
All he does is go to TED conferences and science conferences, libertarian stuff, magic conferences, and he collects people.
Okay. Is he just a super wealthy guy, just an ultra wealthy dude?
Yeah.
How did he acquire this wealth?
Trust fund.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And so he doesn't really do nothing. I would just call him just a fun intellectual.
He's a connector.
Yeah, connector. And not a snobby one at all, So anyway, he invites artists like me. He invites biologists, people surprise many people, other TED speakers, authors, all this kind of stuff. And then, so during the day, everyone goes out on adventures.
Yeah.
And you might go walk no more than 30 feet from the ranch with this biologist. He's telling me about this leaf. Or, like he said, paleontologist out there that we go look at rocks and he tells you all about dinosaurs and stuff like that. Or you go fly fishing, or you go on long hikes up to the snowy mountains. And so people go off on their own adventures. And then he has this really cool mechanism at night, which I now do with my photo workshops.
Yep.
Because people go off on their own adventures, everyone comes and we have this big dinner together, and they actually have waiters and waitresses, and you have a little rock with your name on it, and they seat you by different random people every night.
Yeah.
It's great. You just have conversations to your right and left. And at random times, walking up a hill here, at random times through the dinner, anyone can ding their glass, ding, 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 and they stand up and they give a report.
Okay.
Because everyone is off doing slightly different things.
Yep.
They come back with some kind of report, and the only requirement is that you name your report, and your report is less than 3 or 4 minutes.
Yep.
And you have a beginning, middle, and an end.
Okay.
Sometimes you just get hilarious stories. It's interesting to hear what other people do, because these are all kind of clever people. They tell clever little stories.
Yeah.
So I've adopted that. I think it's really just cool to hear what, I would love to know all of the conversations.
Yeah.
I'm happy enough just with ours,
Yeah.
but to hear theirs too is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this size is just right, where there's minimal FOMO, conversation FOMO, because I feel like you kind of hear the edges of them, and if you want to run over to it, you can.
Yeah, you get the shape of it.
And then I've had the same conversation a few times, so I think there's a lot of repeating going on.
I remember yesterday you walked over to our group. There was 5 of us, and you go, ooh, are you guys talking about online publishing?
Yes.
Can I listen in?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, I want to hear what the founder of WordPress has to say about online publishing.
Yeah.
It's it's kind of a rare opportunity.
Yeah.
But so you have you're on this ranch, there's 18 people, and how long do you spend there?
A week.
Okay, so that's a long time.
And then after dinner, they usually pick 2 random people to go into the living room. We all go in the living room. People are drinking, port by the fireplace. And 2 random people do their little 18-minute TED Talk.
Okay.
Even if they're not TED speakers, they just what are they into?
Sure.
And then everyone sits there, and I think that's really interesting to hear what people are up to and interested in. And then you have a little Q&A and discussion, and the next person gets up. So it's kind of a really fun format, super relaxed.
Yeah.
Not elitist in the slightest, just interesting people,
Great.
Yeah.
And so that's That's probably the max of what you've experienced in terms of group
Yeah.
density and time together.
It's hard to get to know more people than that in a week.
That seems like
Yeah.
the max, yeah.
Yeah. But I'm also with you. I think a small, tight group of 3, 4, or 5 can be really intense and much more organic as well. I look forward to that in Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This feels about right. We haven't seen many other big groups on the trail, maybe 4 people, 5 people max.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday there was a big strange group that I feel like was only walking yesterday.
Oh.
There was something about the vibe of that group that seemed like they weren't doing the whole thing.
Were they the loud ones at the bar?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was more of like just an aggro beer walk, I think.
Yeah, a little bit. But yeah, this size feels right. The timing feels right. Do you think how do you think the rhythm would change if we had, say, like another week to do? Do you think we'd keep up this pace of conversation, or do you think we'd create more alone time? What do you think would happen?
We toyed with the idea of, and I did this on one of my yoga meditation hiking retreats in Camino. And it's the Aussies. Oi, oi, Aussie.
How's it going? Good.
It is kind of funny how you see people again and again.
Yeah.
And one of the days, we did a silent hike.
Yeah.
And we all would maintain a 2-minute distance from each other. So, and it was a little later in the week, so we kind of knew each other's pace, fastest person front. And that was very interesting because, I think we both enjoy talking with each other, and we enjoy the silence.
Yeah.
And you learn a lot about yourself by hearing from other people, and you also learn a lot about yourself when you're just by yourself, and you have a chance to reflect on things, which I think is important. Because right now we're pretty busy, and we're not getting a ton of reflection time.
Very little downtime.
Now, luckily, I've been taking pictures, making recordings,
Yeah.
and I think it kind of takes you right back there. And so later on, this is why I like taking photos of things, because, I am very present. I'm really enjoying the moment, even while I'm taking photos or recording any kind of media. And then inevitably later, when I get back home to my studio, and I'm going over these media things, I'm brought right back. And now you've had a little bit of time for your subconscious to process everything. Which I think it's always processing stuff when you're sleeping. There's just stuff going on as you take in new information, and then you synthesize that information into meaningful things. People always talk about the search for happiness or whatever. I think that's maybe a little misguided. I like, like having search for meaningful things, which sometimes make you happy, sometimes make you sad, and it takes a while to synthesize, because sometimes you get an immediate squirt of endorphin talking to someone, because you get excited because you're excited about the same thing, or you have an idea. And I love talking about ideas, but then that synthesis into meaning that's applicable to your daily life. You can take this meaning into your family relationships, into other friend relationships. Mm-hmm. I think that's a wonderful thing. And I know that, like, not going on this walk, I would be a lesser person, right? And not in a judgmental way.
Sure.
Just I feel like it really adds to my life, and I humbly hope I do even a small little thing to add to other people's lives.
Yeah. Well, you said you haven't done much walking, or you didn't feel like you're up to the walking standard, but I mean, you run photo walks all over the world.
Yeah, we do, but those are pretty chill. We do events. Actually, we were in Spain about this time last year. We had a tour bus with my little crew of about 5 people, and
so this is people paying to come and like basically do like a photo walk and workshop with Trey.
No.
Okay.
We do have dedicated paid photo workshops. Like we have one in New Zealand. Yeah. And then next year we have one in Africa. So those are paid week-long experiences. Mm-hmm. This was something free and sponsored by some companies.
Okay.
And so the people on the bus, these are people that help me out, like a video team, video editor, tour manager, COO, my assistant, all these. So this kind of group of people. And then what we did was, this is part of a global thing we're calling 80 stays around the world.
Okay.
And so this was our European tour. We picked 10 cities through Europe, and we took the bus. Every 4 days we would hit a new city.
Okay.
And so like in Spain, for example, we started in Lisbon, then we went to Barcelona.
Yep.
And in Barcelona, we would have an event, like in all these cities, a photo walk.
Okay.
And so I put this on the internet, and I would say, hey guys, come to this location, come gather outside the tour bus. We're going to park in this spot at 6 p.m. And so we would get there, and there would be a little crowd of people, sometimes 50 people, sometimes like 200 or 300 people.
Where was the biggest crowd?
The biggest one was in London.
In London, okay. How many people showed up?
Oh, I'd say 250 to 300.
Wow.
It was kind of fun too, because we put our bus on a ferry to take it across the English Channel to drive it into London. Anyway, what we do, so everyone comes and they bring their cameras, anything from a DSLR to a mobile phone.
Yep.
And we do a little hour-long meet and greet.
Okay.
Take selfies, and I talk to people and stuff like that. And then I jump up on, a bench or something.
Yep.
And I give a little speech.
Yep.
And I give people some mind vitamins to help get their mind right.
What's a mind vitamin?
Oh.
Give us an example of one of your mind vitamins.
Goodness. Let me think. I think, one of the things I say is that we're all here because we love creating photos. Mm. This is the short version of it. Yeah. It's a little bit more of a rambly version of it. I said it appears that we're creating photos, but what we're really doing is creating ourselves. Mm. And I think this is part of getting your mind right about this, in that a lot of people are taking photos and thinking about, what will people think about it? How many likes and comments will I get? And this sort of thing. And that'll drive you crazy.
Yep.
I think it's very natural to create and share in a non-egotistic way.
Yep.
And then one of my other bailiwicks that I go on to is that the greatest creative gift you can give to yourself is to completely dissolve your ego and not take yourself seriously. Because as soon as you stop worrying about yourself, and once you realize that you're not the thoughts in your head, but you're the silence behind them, that frees up a tremendous amount of energy that you can use for creativity. So these are the kind of things I talk about. And then we get a little bit more practical. I tell them about my camera settings, this kind of thing. I explain what happens on a photo walk. This whole thing takes about 15 minutes, my little on the bench Mussolini kind of speech. Yeah. And then we go off.
Do you have a bullhorn?
Yes.
Are you yelling into a bullhorn?
Usually I have a mic.
Really?
And then we have a mobile
speaker
system that one of my assistants pulls around.
You're like a politician. You get up there in the middle of London.
Right.
Are people freaking out? Are cops like coming over and going, what the hell's going on?
Sometimes we have to get clearance and we have cops walk with us.
Oh, interesting. Where did you have cops? Where did you have to do that?
London. I remember in Moscow.
Huh.
I have a longer story I can get to, which is pretty funny. I'll tell it real fast because it's a good photo walk story. Okay.
Sure.
I don't want to run up against your 25-minute limit, though.
We're well over that.
All right, sorry. No problem. Okay, so before the European tour, we did the U.S. tour, and we were in D.C., right around the Washington Mall and Washington Monument.
Yep.
Great, awesome crowd there. Like really loving, awesome. It's a self-selecting crowd, because I'm just wonderful, nice people, like on this walk.
Yep.
So I'm shaking hands, kissing babies, that kind of stuff. And then this one guy cuts through the crowd, right?
Yep.
And he's got on like a suit, and he's pretty tall, and he's got this commanding kind of military air to him.
Yep.
And not in a rude way, but he he kind of cuts. There's not really a line; it's a very organic thing, but he kind of gets it in there, and then he shakes my hand. One of those hard military shakes where they're holding you in place.
Sure.
And I always have a little bit of a guilty disposition. You know, I don't know. I always think, oh my God, what have I done? What's wrong? And he goes, Mr. Ratcliff. And like, he has these blue eyes that are just like piercing through my soul. And I'm just kind of like mesmerized, like I've been glamored by a vampire. He goes, Mr. Ratcliff, I want you to know that I'm the director of communications for the Pentagon.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh God, what have I done? What's wrong? And he goes, and I want you to know that me and the Secretary of Defense are huge fans. And if you ever need the help of the U.S. military, we got your back.
Oh my God.
I was like, what? And he goes, can I have your email address so I can contact you? And I said, I have a feeling you already have my email address. And he goes, we do. We're just trying to be nice. So anyway, we keep tabs. This was under Obama. And we keep tabs with each other and check in, and because like they actually got all my HDR tutorials, and like they love taking photos when they're traveling around, which you wouldn't expect. But anyway, they knew I was going to Russia, and he goes, Trey, you need to be careful in Russia, but we'll take care of you. I was like, oh, okay. And so on the Russian one, we had 2 undercover Marines following us everywhere.
Wow.
And they came up, they introduced me, and they were really nice guys. So anyway, yeah, we do end up with a bit of protection in place. Now the photo walk itself is not like this. It's about an hour and a half kind of light walk around the city where I stop at 5 or 6 places and I take a photo.
Yep.
And I talk to the crowd, I talk about the story I'm trying to tell with the photo, composition, and I talk about the settings, mini Q&A, and then we all walk to the next spot. Everyone's taking photos, and everyone is sharing photos online. And I'm trying to connect this whole crowd and have them find some new local photo friends. And and it's totally free. And that's what a photo walk is.
Yeah, I love it. You said you did one in San Francisco with like 500 people.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
That sounds logistically complicated.
Well, that was back when we didn't know what we were doing. That was me and my friend Thomas Hawk, who's a good great photographer. A lot of great photographers came out. Actually, Kevin Kelly came out to that one.
Oh, nice.
And that was my first time meeting him.
Yeah, you're saying that's how you guys met.
Meeting him in person, yeah. And there's way too many people. We didn't have a megaphone, but we learn and iterate over time.
Yep.
Like on anything, you know.
Yeah. How many photo walks have you done now? Do you think?
Oh my goodness, probably 60 or 70.
Wow. And so you do, on average, how many a year are you doing? Like 10 a year? Maybe not quite
I would say
many?
about 10 a year.
Oh, wow.
That sounds about right. No, this is not our main. My main business is selling fine art prints to collectors.
Yeah.
But one reason I become, I don't know, popular, or whatever, is because of the fans. So I'm glad to do these things for free to give back because they've changed my life.
Yeah.
I can never do enough for them.
Yeah.
I'm really humbled.
Very cool. Well, man, I'm glad you could make it on this walk with us. It's been so lovely having you, and
Thank you.
It's always nice having a pro photographer.
Man, hey, look, what do you mean? You are definitely no slouch. You're a Leica man. Your photos are unbelievable. You've done books and had events with them, so.
Well, it's just nice to have a well-photographed, well-documented sort of meander through the mountains of Spain.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thanks for coming, and look forward to the next walk we get to do together.
I am trying to be present and try not to think so far ahead to Japan, but I can't help it. I'm excited about it.
Awesome.
It occupies about half my brain, really.
Cool, man. Well, thank
All right.
you.
Thanks, Greg.